Chapter 6559. Tawana never expected Charlie to ask her a question instead of answering it. The issue of illegal immigration is almost as sensitive as LGBT. So she dared not say anything politically incorrect. Otherwise, she would be attacked. So, she said with a serious face, "I think the immigration issue should be left to the government. The United States has special laws to solve such problems. As long as they ensure fairness and justice in the law enforcement process, it will be fine." After that, she couldn't help but look at Charlie with some pride and asked him, "So what is Mr. Wade's attitude towards LGBT?" Charlie smiled and said, "If you insist on leaving everything to the law, then you don't need to ask me about LGBT issues. Let alone come out to appeal for anything. Isn't there a law for everything, right? Leave things that can be solved by the law to the law. And we should do what we should do. And don't get involved in legal matters." Tawana was speechless for a moment. She didn't expect that she would play tricks, and Charlie followed suit. Moreover, she could hear that his words seemed to accuse her of meddling in other people's business. Just when she didn't know how to respond, Charlie said again, "In fact, it is unfair for you to say that leaving the issue of illegal immigration to the law is also unfair or fair. At the very least, the position you personally put when treating LGBT and illegal immigrants is unfair." "It's not unfair." Tawana immediately retorted, "What I mean is that every group should be fully respected. And then adapt to the corresponding laws and regulations, which will be safer." Charlie smiled and said, "The celebrities often stand up and call on the states to amend legal provisions for LGBT. But I have never heard of you standing up and calling for amendments to legal provisions for illegal immigrants. You ask the government to provide equal rights for LGBT, which is very good, very humane. But why do you treat LGBT and illegal immigrants differently? Aren't illegal immigrants worthy of your appeal and amendment of legal provisions for them? The reason why you treat LGBT and illegal immigrants differently is just because illegal immigrants do not have citizenship? If your so-called equality is based on having American citizenship, then isn't this equality a bit too frivolous?" Tawana was stumped by Charlie's series of tricky questions. Although she has been a big name in the entertainment industry for many years and her singing skills are world-class, it can be seen from the fact that she can deliberately influence the values of fans as an idol. That she is not the kind of person who truly believes in Lee Jufu. What is Lee Jufu? It means that any point you put forward must be convincing. If you just shout at the top of your voice and say you want this and that, but you can't say 4, 5, 6, it's basically no different from being a hooligan. After thinking for a long time with a depressed look on her face, Tawana said, "You know, the meaning of the LGBT group is broader. We support LGBT, not just the LGBT in the United States, but the LGBT in the world." Charlie nodded and said, "Yes, the illegal immigrants I mentioned are not just illegal immigrants in the United States, but illegal immigrants in various countries around the world. So what is the difference between them?" Tawana glanced at Charlie dimly, thinking that he would be easily incited by her like the previous two ladies, and then say a few words of support, and the matter would pass perfectly. But who would have thought that this guy would be a stubborn person? And he would never stop arguing with her. Seeing that she was speechless for a while, Charlie said, "Miss Sweet, if my question just now is difficult to answer, then you don't have to answer me. But I have a question that requires you to give me a clear answer." Tawana hurriedly said, "Tell me." Charlie asked her, "In your eyes, are illegal immigrants and LGBT equal? You just need to answer me, yes or no." Tawana was a little entangled again. It's nonsense to say that they are equal. Or it can be said that most people living in their own country do not like illegal immigrants who sneak into their country. But although this is true, it cannot be said that way. In the West, you cannot say many things you don't like. It's like as a woman, you don't want a man dressed as a man to go into the women's restroom with you. This logic is normal and 100% correct, but you can't say it. As long as you say it, a lot of saints will jump out and criticize you. He is already pitiful for dressing up as a woman. And he has to squat to pee in the women's restroom. It's so hard, but you don't let him go to the women's restroom. Do you have a conscience? Tawana grew up in this environment and grew into a superstar. She knows the ins and outs of it very well. So, she could only say against her will, I think illegal immigrants and LGBT are equal. After all, we are all human beings, and humans should be treated equally. Charlie nodded and said, It's great that you have such an attitude. I think someone should record our conversation and post it online to let everyone know that you are also very supportive of illegal immigrants. And I remember that you openly support LGBT in almost every concert. I admire and agree with your approach. But since in your eyes, illegal immigrants and LGBT are equal, why haven't I heard you speak out for illegal immigrants in public at your concerts before?